Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 264. That is 264. I am Erik Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Sinitsky. Hello.
Hi. I have a Hams.
I have a Budweiser, your favorite beer.
That's gross.
It was in the fridge already in a koozie, so I think I had second thoughts last time.
Do you know who bought us these? Patrons. Actually, I bought them for us, but patrons could buy us these beers.
They have bought
for $1 a month.
A lot of beer for us. Well, some. It does cover the hosting costs, which I'm extremely appreciative of.
Yeah.
And it buys us a couple of beers. And since we're on that topic anyway, patreon.com/Carbitrage. On this super cool handcrafted website, you will find 3 open-ended levels of support starting at just $1 a month. And we certainly appreciate it if you want to. Otherwise, no pressure.
There we go. All right, moving on. You had the first topic.
I do. So, Hagerty blog is one of the...
I love Hagerty's blog.
Their writing
so good.
Is immense.
They
and
are really, really, really good at outreach. It is amazing. Like, it is so good, their writing. Like, it's objectively...
And in the sea of the drive, you go to Hagerty blog and you start reading it. Like, not only are the articles long form,
yeah,
they're actually well written.
They have long form and short form. Like, it's really nice. Yeah.
But I was perusing on there just to fill up my roster for this episode, and I clicked on one article that said, according to you, so they were asking their readers, what is the ideal car to give the best first impression to somebody that you're going to meet? So not necessarily a romantic meeting, but like professional.
Yeah.
What car would you drive? So I clicked into this. I'm like, oh, what's going to be the number one?
Yeah.
Scrolled all the way to the bottom. There isn't a number one. It's just the whole thing is like talking through various takes. So like the first car they mentioned is a Jaguar E-Type.
Oh, I was actually going to say a Jaguar, but not the E-Type.
I mean, like, great car for first impression, but like nobody can afford them anymore unless it's a coupe V12 auto or something like that.
They're shockingly affordable. The Series 1 is expensive, but the rest are shockingly affordable.
I think I would rather have a Fulvia.
This is my thing. Yeah, the Fulvia is better in every way.
I need to change my answer for the upcoming topic. That's what I want.
I would say a Jaguar, but I would do either early 90s XJ or early 2000s XJR. And the reason being is if I have an early 90s XJ that's functional and everything, it means that I'm a reliable person.
Yep.
Because I know how to keep something working.
It's like being a cat owner.
Exactly.
You immediately know that person puts a lot of care and effort into their life because they have to.
You are literally a cat owner because it's a Jaguar.
Exactly. Oh,
and the XJR would show that I don't look at the first impression.
Yeah.
I look at the content of the vehicle, and I am very studious before I make a purchase or before I make a decision. I put a lot of thought into what I'm doing. And the reason I say it with the XJR is that is a car everybody conflates with the late 90s XJs that were just timing chain problems and no performance and just bad.
Well, even the XJRs to an extent, but yeah.
But I mean, just generally bad, or the late 90s Jaguars. The XJR, you now have like cool performance and like Brembo brakes and stuff like that. And
it was worth putting timing chains into it.
Yeah, and like you can usually find them after somebody put in timing chains and now they're afraid of it.
Yep. Well, that costs so much I can't risk this again.
Exactly.
But
so that's a car where I'm just like, if you do your research, you'll find out XJR is actually a great vehicle. But
I mean, most of the components in it outside of the engine, like Jaguar didn't actually design or build, so you can still fix them.
Yeah, it's still, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those cars where at face value it sounds terrible, and then you think it over, and that's actually not that bad. Like, it's a good looking car. It's cheap. It's reliable-ish. Like, it's fine.
If it's had chains done, yeah.
Yeah.
Short
of the chains.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any other issues. Like, it's a supercharged 4.2 V8. Like, it's a very cool...
I thought they were 4 liters and then they moved to the 4.2.
XJR is the 4.2 V8.
They were all 4.2s?
Yes, in the XJR, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because otherwise, they also called it a Super V8. They changed the names around a whole lot.
Thanks, Jag.
They're having a big problem with, like, Jaguar becoming, like, the least reliable form of itself.
That was also, like, right in the Ford acquisition era.
Yeah, and then you had also the Jaguar X-Type, which looked identical to it. Like, I honestly can't tell them apart unless I see them side by side. Oh. Like, if I see one drive by, I cannot tell.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
the scale is immediately apparent. If there's any question, it's an X-Type.
The problem is like, the XJ is, like, rear-wheel drive. It's basically Lincoln LS, and the X-Type is a all-wheel drive Taurus.
It's a Mondeo.
Yeah, it's all-wheel drive Taurus, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't share any components with the U.S. market Taurus, but it is absolutely a Mondeo.
Nope. The twin cam Duratec engine.
Nope, completely unique.
Really?
None of the parts fit.
That's not the
anything
twin cam
from water
Duratec?
pumps to coil packs. They don't fit.
That's not
based on a Duratec, but it isn't.
No, they made the twin cam Duratec in Tauruses.
I understand, but like
it's not that.
You
it's
can't
not
use,
that engine.
Well, it is.
Oh, that's even more cursed.
It's a Duratec series engine, but like I looked into buying an X-Type 2.5 manual
bad.
for a Gambler.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it needs a water pump. I'm like, oh, bro, no problem. Taurus, look it up. No, zero interchange.
That's even more cursed.
So it is a Duratec-based engine, and like all the stuff that actually matters internally is Duratec, but anything on the outside is Jaguar specific.
And this is why I go back to saying that the XJR is a great first impression car.
Yep, that's a known quantity too. Comparison. So.
Yeah, so like it just means that like you don't look at face value. You actually research what you're buying. Like if you're going to own an XJR, you need that is a decision you made.
So I was originally the one of the, we'll call it the big bold points where they really have a category of talking about it was a used luxury car that still looks new. And I thought that's where you were going with that.
No.
But like this is completely different because this is like the R230 SL that's on the screen or mild Boxster S. It's a car that you buy because it looks fancy and it just happens to really project a nicer, newer appearance. And a Jag isn't that.
I don't like... I've met more people that are turned off by a luxury car ownership than people that are turned off by high trim level non-luxury cars.
Well, good news, they have that covered as well.
Perfect.
A non-luxury car that still looks new.
Yep.
So basically, it's anything you've taken care of, obviously, that isn't new.
No, the Toyota Venza versus a Lexus RX. They're effectively the same thing. But the Venza's like less standoffish, and that's actually it's a realtor thing. A lot of realtors go with actually very commonly go with high trim level Outbacks because you have all the nice amenities that you would have of a Lexus or of a Mercedes.
Yeah.
But you don't look like you're doing so well that you're not going to pay attention to them.
Right.
And so that's actually a thing where having a very high trim level, not luxury car.
I actually found that at my place of work is like. My boss picked a new project manager's vehicle, and he picked a Range Rover Sport Supercharged, like all blacked out, everything. He's like, I hate it. I show up to every pre-con, and everyone just like treats me like shit because they think I'm this wealthy dude who's not gonna.
Trig's dad taught me that actually, because Trig's dad's a hydraulic salesman.
Yeah,
and he's like, he
drives that Caravan.
No, he had a W body Impala for the longest time. And we're like, this car sucks. He goes, it does suck. You're right. And he's like, but this is the thing is I'm going around Bush's America at this point in time. Yeah. He's like, I'm going around Bush's America. If I show up with a Lexus, like I'm going to get laughed off the site.
Yep.
He's like, however, this does 80% of what a Lexus ES does for me.
Sure.
And he's like, again, his is like pretty decently high trim level. It's the highest trim level you can get before you get to the leather seats.
Okay.
And the reason he did that was if I put somebody in my car and I've got leather seats, it looks like I'm doing better than I really am.
Okay.
And I don't look like I'm a down to earth person.
As long as you keep it in really good condition, sure, yeah.
But like, you also don't want them to be uncomfortable, so you get the one with the heated seats with cloth. Yep. So like a premium trim level Crosstrek, perfect example like that. Like versus the leather seats where you're like, this person's got leather, okay.
But that's a delicate line to tiptoe because you got to find, especially in like rural America, like where domestic is still like that misnomer where you buy something with a bow tie and it's a domestic car, where in reality that car is probably made in Mexico or in South Korea, and the BMW that just passed you is made in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Exactly.
It's like that. It's absurd. The
Actually, that's why when you go to, if you ever find yourself in Alabama, you'll find everybody owns
a Mercedes
or a Honda. That's it.
There's a Honda factory there too.
That's where they make Ridgelines and Pilots. Huh?
Okay, cool.
So
I mean,
what else did they mention?
The Acura NSX, the first gen.
Yeah, nope, that's a good one.
So I mean, that car, it's obviously exotic, but it's that completely different mindset. It's like this person isn't an exotic owner,
but they own a sports car,
right? Like something that's just in great condition. It's great to drive, not actually that fast, but like it's an appreciation for quality.
Also, you have the nostalgia for millennials. Like
True.
Everybody our age loved that car when we were in high school.
Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, like that is a very, very, very good car.
You'll like the next one, which is Classic American.
Fact. Absolute fact.
Yep.
If you want to make a great first impression, get yourself a 60s Thunderbird. It's going to be bulletproof reliable. Mm-hmm. It's going to be as cheap as hell. Like, Thunderbirds are worth nothing. You could even get a 4-door Thunderbird. In the late 60s.
Yeah, now we're talking.
So if you want like a 67 Ford Thunderbird, you can get a 4-door of this one if it's the one I'm thinking of. Yep, that one. Yeah, I think if you look, I think there's actually a 4-door Thunderbird right there. Yeah, you get a 4-door Thunderbird in 67.
That actually isn't a terrible looking car.
No, they look pretty good. You can throw a Holly Sniper EFI on that, make it run fine.
It's got coach doors.
Yeah, it's got a reasonable engine. Like it's a Ford small block. Like you're not doing some weird nailhead shit like I like. But it's still not a small block Chevy. Like
a belly button.
Yeah, it's unique, but it's also something where you can feasibly live with it.
And it doesn't look expensive.
No, it doesn't. It looks like a cool old car. Like that goes back to
all this comes down to like anyone that obviously cares about their non-appliance vehicle.
The cat owner thing.
Yeah.
It's even if it's an appliance, you took like again a Venza.
There's no unconditional love here.
Yeah, it's like a Venza. Like even if it's an appliance, you still took the care because to a normal person, it's not going to matter.
Right.
To somebody that's really allergic to rich people, you're not going to look like a rich dickhead. It's a car for everyone.
Well, especially at this point, if you still have a Venza and it's in great shape, that still comes back to the same thing. You care about your car, and it does have character.
Yeah,
compared to the RX.
It's a very unique vehicle.
Yeah.
You get everything RX is, but you don't look like a rich dick.
You own it on purpose.
And then to like somebody like us that's actually like a discerning car buyer, you would look at a Venza and go, this is a very based decision. Like it's literally the term we're looking for is a based decision. A based decision is somebody that
I had to learn that word this week. In that context.
Yeah, and based literally means somebody that's willing to go on their own path and make their own decision based off their own evidence, and they're not afraid to go outside of the norm. That's what based means.
Which is a lot of things to cram into a single word, but yeah.
But that's why there's one word. Like that's why rappers came up with that term, like because it means a whole bunch of shit. And it's a really great word. And it's a word that gets co-opted by white supremacists because they're stupid and I hate them. They say, I'm just being based. No, you're not. You're just being a piece of shit.
Correct.
But the actual use of the word based actually is a very cool meaning. And that's what you're looking for is a based car decision. Yeah. Like, it's very similar to somebody gets like a very high, like, this is kind of an out there decision.
Yeah.
But high trim level, old Korean car.
Okay, so like an immaculate XG350L or something like that?
Or like an immaculate
an Amante.
Like an Amante, or you get like an Optima EX V6.
Yep.
Just like one of those
but
weird...
it's had a paint correction.
Yeah, like it's just like it's like a what the fuck? Why did you buy this car? And then you're in it and you're like, this is actually not terrible.
It's not bad.
I'm okay with this. This is a really good use of like $5,000. Like,
but I mean, that goes back to like something with character.
Yeah, there we go. That's the
last thing. Yeah,
the next thing is something with character, and that comes back to all these points I've been hitting on. It's a based vehicle decision. Yeah, like and their example was a
F1G DSM. That's GSX.
Yeah.
Or I guess that's a Talon. No, it's an Eclipse.
It's an Eclipse. Yeah, but
you never see those wheels.
Yeah, no, it's a vehicle of character, a based automotive purchasing decision.
So I agree.
Yeah, no, that was a very interesting
I liked that
article. I really liked that a lot.
I loved it because when I clicked into it wasn't at all what I expected.
No, I was expecting like, here's your top 3, but no, it's like all sorts of weird answers. I wonder, what is the worst car? Just real quick, off the top of your head.
Worst car to make a first impression. Oh, man.
Here, while you're thinking about it, I'm going to say Audi Q5 / Volkswagen Tiguan.
Put the Atlas in there, too.
Yeah, Volkswagen Atlas, like a German SUV. It just makes you...
What is like the most tone-deaf car purchase is what I'm trying to think of right now. And preferably something that costs money.
A Cadillac V.
Yeah, like I think...
A performance Cadillac.
An Escalade V.
Oh, that is horrible.
They just came out that.
Just insufferable.
You just have no taste.
But I would say a German SUV. Because even if you get a Volkswagen, you still look like an entitled dickhead.
Yeah. Like
and also,
RSQ 7 or 8 and
like,
X5M.
To like every level. Like to a Volkswagen person, you bought a crossover. That's stupid. To a person that like works on cars, you bought like the worst vehicle ever to work on. So like,
this is potentially the worst combination of any part you could possibly purchase.
Like it's literally the worst thing you get is a German SUV, and like
they're all dog shit.
Yeah, they're terrible. Like even like beyond like a Land Rover, which is like a P320 or whatever.
Oh god.
Like where those are objectively awful. They're at least interesting.
Yep.
This is just blends in with normal
really
ass
good
traffic.
off-road.
This is this is the sort of person that like goes to Nordstrom's and buys like expensive shit at Nordstrom's.
I got it. X4 M40i. That is the worst vehicle, and it's just owned by a complete piece of shit.
The
slopey back SUVs in a poor trim.
Yeah, that's bad. That might be worse than a Q5.
X4s are worse.
Yeah, because like it's the Q5, but even to a worse degree. I'm gonna say runner-up is the Mercedes GLC, which does not mean great little car.
No, it's the GLK new car.
Yeah,
but worse.
And every single person I've ever met with one is the biggest jack off. Like it's you have like my top 10 jack offs, and like they keep one upping each other. It's just incredible. Like
that car is leased by people that totaled their what's that cheap 3-row Dodge Journey. They totaled their Journey and they had gap coverage accidentally.
Yeah.
That's because they're always being driven like a complete shit nugget too.
The first person I ever met with one was a person that was reluctantly in recovery, was a Trumper, was like super pro-Israel, not because like they love Jewish people, but just because they don't like Arab people. Like it's just the worst sort of person. Dude is like gun nut.
There's got to be a term for that, like having the correct opinion, but for the worst goddamn reason.
Yeah, like I understand, like if you like Jewish people, like good, you should like Jewish people, but like also like if you're pro-Israel because you like
because you're racist,
objectively are racist. Like it's one thing to just like just believe the zeitgeist and not like look past something, but if you go out of your way to say nope, I actually like that they're doing that, like wow, no, you're an extra shitty person. That's like Russian level of shitty person. But then on top of it, like the guy was also a gun nut, but he was a gun nut and like he has
like 32 MP5s.
No, MP5s are actually a very cool gun. No, the guy's like he was going out hunting, and he had a tactical out Palmetto. No, it wasn't Palmetto. It was actually expensive. It was a Daniel Defense AR-15. It was a
my developer has one of those. You have me hold it.
Very expensive, stupid gun, and I'm like, there's so many like ways to like you can like make fun of people like based off their gun just as easily as you can off their car.
Oh sure.
Like you can really just like
I'm just not in that world.
Yeah, no, but like in that world, like that is the matching gun to that vehicle. Like it's just like you are just a total dickhead. Like I fucking hate you. I hate everything about you. And then on top of it, when I met him, he parked his car in the middle of the bays at my repair shop as we were opening up, and I was actively moving a vehicle out of the shop. Like I was pulling a car out of a bay because the customer was there, and he pulls his car in,
parks and gets out,
parks inside the shop, locks the doors, gets out, walks into the front, and waits for me.
I would have called a tow truck from inside the customer car.
Oh my god, I was so furious. Honestly, when I quit working at that shop, when I left, I told my coworker, I'm like, I'm so happy I don't have to see this person ever again. Like, that is the best part of not working.
I can't believe they maintained their vehicle.
Yeah, it was just like the worst sort of person. And the guy was like, the guy was in recovery too, which was like, honestly his best trait. But like, he was not in recovery for like being like, yeah, I want to be better. He's like, I'm in
court ordered.
Yeah, like court ordered recovery.
Yeah.
Like it's just like, oh my god, dude, you're just the worst. How do you what? Like just he's the sort of person that would sue somebody for a lemonade stand.
Oh yeah. That was like not in the right spot.
Yeah, no, just the worst sort of dick. Oh my god, I hate people.
Fine, GLCs. I'll give you GLC 300 or X4 M40.
Yeah, luxury SUV. Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
I want to talk about something that makes me happy, not terrible Daniel Defense AR-15 owners. I want to talk about it. It's been a while since we've done this challenge where we've been like, here's a price point, and let's find what we'd buy in that price point.
Sorry.
I wanted to look at the $15,000 challenge.
Yeah.
Because since the last time we've done this, there's been some large change. It's still like mid 2021. Last time we did it, early 2021.
I think so. It was probably around the time we updated all this. It might have even been 2020.
It might have been 2020 actually. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've done this.
I could control F the other list, but I'm not gonna.
No, it's okay. But I want to talk about one car that was not on our radar or considered in 2020 at the beginning of 2021 that we would buy within $15,000.
So our answers last time, I think one of us picked a Fulvia.
Yeah, probably.
And I picked the 864.
I think so.
Yeah.
And like $15,000 is that weird price point because like,
it is. It sucks, which I realized again this morning.
Yeah, because like you have like really cheap cars that are like 10 grand, where you can get like a Kazashi or something cool like that, or you have 20 grand where you start getting like 4-door big fin Mopars.
Well, I mean, I was looking. I looked, but the first thing I searched for today was the G70 manual, the 2.0T car, because for a time they briefly grazed 20 grand used.
Yeah, and
they're 30 now.
Yeah, so they're back. They went right back up. Yeah, I had a lot of weird ones. A lot of my classic Americana I've been getting into lately is not in this price point because, yeah, like $15,000 that can get you a pretty decent not running hot rod, like,
and that's the thing.
Like
it's either going to be
Ford or like, but like it needs an engine.
It's going to be a fringe case nice car, or it's going to be a really nice bad car.
And so,
or like shitty car.
I actually went with the latter. I set up Ford Bronco II. You can get a really good manual Bronco II.
Is that the 80s, 90s one?
That's a compact Bronco.
Oh, sure, yeah. Oh, wow.
You can get one of those.
I haven't seen one of those without rust ever.
Yeah, no, I saw one like during the pandemic, but it had been like rattle canned white.
Oh, nice.
Like it was like they clearly like they clear coated over it, but it was like
yeah.
Up close looked like a Mako paint job.
The
but like
auto shop by my house has a really clapped one with a plow on it, and they still use it to plow their
yeah,
lot.
They're great. But like I've been seeing them on Bring a Trailer, and yeah, they're like fun little trucks. Like they're
the mini truck ethos is kind of coming back quite a bit, and I like that because they're small vehicles.
Yeah,
and you could get them, I think, with the 3.9 V6 and a 5-speed. So I mean, you could get a reasonable powertrain.
Yeah, and like you can get a flawless like. I'm looking on Bring a Trailer right now, like. In September 20th, there was an 85 Bronco II 4x4 5-speed that was beige and brown with like a brown interior. Really, really, really good though.
That's the most 70s, 90s car ever.
Yeah, it was like an 85, and it was $26,000. Like that's expensive, but it's also like the best one you've ever seen.
Right.
However, 86 Bronco II XLT 5-speed with like 75-ish thousand miles in August 30th of this year. $13,000, 90 Bronco II, $15,000. Like this is kind of like on the money for what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
but you can still find them. Like a 90 Bronco II XLT 4x4 automatic was $9,000 August 1st on Bring a Trailer. And Kirsty sells Bring a Trailer prices, so this is like actual collector prices. This isn't like finding some random stuff on Craigslist and like.
Which is what I had to go with.
Yeah, and so like, but that's the thing is like that means like having these trucks be on that point. Mm-hmm. And on Bring a Trailer means that I can do some research and I can easily get like what would be a $20,000 truck on Bring a Trailer. I could probably if I got lucky, I might be able to find it for like 15 grand somewhere on Craigslist. So yeah, good trucks. You know, a lot of people used to shit on them because at the same time you had the full size Bronco
and gas was a nickel. So
yeah, and I'm like, you know, also. I really like having a small truck. Like, this is kind of a cool truck. Like it's fun. It's cute. Like, it's 4x4. I can go do stuff with it. And it doesn't take up much footprint. Like, it has the footprint of, like, smaller than my Mazda 5, but bigger than my Fiat. Like, that's a cool truck.
I love that you've done enough research on it to know exactly those things.
I said,
like, will this fit on my driveway?
I almost bought one, like, a while back. But, like, yeah, no, they're really cool little trucks, and they were underappreciated for a long time. Now they're actually going for a little bit of money. But, you know, I don't dislike them. I've never disliked them. Plus, they have a really cool window. The back window curves up onto the roof a little bit.
Oh, interesting.
Here, I'll show you. I'll
just have to look next time I go home.
Yeah, they're really cool. Like the back window on them. Like I just remember like we had a family friend that had one when I was a kid. I always thought the back windows were the coolest thing.
The first time
this one
I saw a
See what I'm talking about? The back
90s
window?
4Runner. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really
weird.
cool back
That would have been a
window.
good view.
Yeah.
The first time I saw a 90s 4Runner electrically put the rear glass down, I lost my mind.
Yeah. You're like, what? Yeah. It's really
So
cool.
it's in that same vein. Wow, that thing's clean.
Yeah, so you can get a really good one for this price point. And I think, like, I'd be okay getting a really clean Bronco II.
That's still the Cologne V6 too. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's one of these where it's like
35,000 miles.
Yeah. And how much was this one?
22.
Yeah, so like that's like peak, like cream of the crop, 22 grand for the best one ever. Like,
Wow. Yeah, this is an earlier one, so it's got the 2.8 and the 4-speed, but that's good enough. Whatever.
yeah, I'm okay with that.
We're not gonna be doing 90 in this thing. Psh. And there's a ton of performance parts for the Cologne. That was in so many race cars.
Yeah, it's a really cool vehicle. Like, I don't get why people hate on them. Like, this is like people that hate on the Bronco 2 today are the same people that are like, unless it can like drive up a 90-degree grade, it's not worth
This
buying.
isn't a Land Rover. Nobody cares.
Even then, who the fuck cares? When are you ever going to use that? Like, it's never going to be a problem for me, ever. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to drive this quirky little truck, and I'm going to love it every day. Because it's as cute as a button. It's the size of a shoe. And it does, like, truck stuff. Like,
And honestly,
I can take this down a trail just fine.
as far as city trucks are concerned, too, that makes sense.
And they're like, it's got little axles. I'm like, it's got a little engine. Like, it's
Like,
a
oh
little
no,
truck.
the Dana 45 is weak. Hope I don't clutch dump it a bunch.
Like, it's a Dana 45. I'm like, it's a Cologne V6. Like,
And it's got two of them.
it's gonna be okay. I've got 115 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque. Like, this engine could be dusted by a B18. Like, I'm never gonna have a
At
problem.
every RPM
yeah,
range.
like I'm never gonna have a
It's
problem.
a torque motor. No,
I mean,
it's not.
No, it's not.
It's just
I'm never gonna have a problem with this differential. Like these tiny diffs are just fine. Like it's okay. So yeah, this is why I kind of put that up there because I'm like it fits all my needs and it's like
You've been wanting a small truck for some time now.
yeah.
So.
There's a high likelihood my next vehicle might be a very tiny truck. So.
I think it probably will be.
I like the idea of a tiny truck. Like, I don't want a truck, but I want like the smallest possible truck. And
Well, the problem is getting one that's legal here that will fit in your driveway.
hey, look at that! Look what a Bronco 2 is.
If it fits, great.
Man, I'm actually selling myself on this now.
Uh-oh.
This is what I did with the Fiat. Is I actually sold myself.
I
on
know.
by talking too much.
I didn't look too much because my pick,
Yeah, you
very different than
You've
yours.
sold yourself on cars before on this podcast.
Yeah, I know. Whoops.
Yeah,
but anyway,
you did that with your E36.
You're picking a really nice cheap vehicle.
Yes.
And I'm picking moon miles, like probably not the best version.
The worst good vehicle.
Yeah, so I picked specifically a 2008 four-door M3 with a ton of miles because these can regularly be found with over 200K on them. And at that point, they've got a rod bearing receipt. They do.
Yeah, it's been done.
0% chance it hasn't been done before at least once, so you know when it was last done, throttle actuators, whatever. But the thing is, the S65 doesn't have any other systemic issues.
No, it's actually a pretty
no
good car.
Vanos problems, no
No.
fuel injector problems like the M5, doesn't have subframe issues like the older cars. These don't rust. Like, fuel's getting expensive, the car market bubbled. This is the time to pick up a pre-facelift four-door M3 with miles on it, because you could buy that, drive it perpetuity, year-round, and you will never lose money
Also,
on it.
it's kind of the last really good M3.
These are thoroughly good.
And like after that, like every M3 got gradually worse.
Well, the problem with the main issue with the F80, like it's a good car, but the power delivery with the bigger turbo made it really snappy in the corners because if you started easing into the power, the boost kicks in and the car just flips sideways. So it's not predictable, it's not progressive.
And this is the V8.
Yeah, this is the 8400 RPM V8 that makes 295 foot-pounds. Like you're gonna know what's happening.
You're gonna be A-okay forever.
So these are phenomenal. I would find one with 200,000+ miles on it, no iDrive. I don't care the colors, but Alpine White on black would be my preference. Make sure the rod bearings are done-ish lately, and then drive it year-round. I don't care. Put winter tires on it.
yeah, no, it's a car you don't care about.
And
like,
you can get these for sub 15.
and you know, with the Bronco 2, that is something I would care about it.
I know.
So that's kind of my issue.
Because you see all the ones up here that have done winter.
It doesn't do well.
No.
No. Oh man, maybe I kind of want to come up with like something that I'm not going to care about. That
I don't think your prompt said that it had to be your only car.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
I'm just saying I would do that.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. I think
it's like right now I could sell my car and buy 2 of those.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Or one of those and like 300,000 miles worth of fuel.
Yeah, that's true. I think you know what? I'm gonna harp on Jag again. It's also something that, well, I mean, it was about a year and a half ago was on my radar because I found that was the first thing I
remember.
Is that Jaguars are fucking great. Like, everybody should buy one. They're fantastic.
I remember the moment when this conversation started.
It was a red 84 XJ6. But, you know what? I might, if I wanted a car that I don't care about, I would get a post-timing chain 4-liter V8 XJ whatever and be fine. Cracked wood trim, not the best interior. Cracked leather, and timing chain's been done. Cool. That's all I care about. Automatic or otherwise. I don't give a shit. It's a daily.
I think those are all auto, aren't they?
Yes. You could. Yes. Yeah, because they all had the J-gate shifter. Yeah.
And I think those were, it depends on the year for the 4 or 5 speed, but they're all ZF transmissions. So all that stuff's documented. Trannies are fine.
The only part's a problem is that timing chain. The rest of the car's fine. It's got Brembo brakes. Everything's great.
Oh, you're talking XJR. Yeah.
Well, that's XJR, but even that normal XJ is just normal brakes. But I mean, they don't really run.
They'll bolt on. It's fine. You can. I guarantee you can find a parts XJR somewhere.
Guaranteed. Absolutely. You'll find parts cars everywhere. Your Facebook marketplace will be so full of parts cars, it'll make your head spin. Like that's kind of the cool thing about Jags. So I think that'd be kind of a cool thing to have.
So briefly, just touching on M3s again. I found the only reason I'm picking this. I don't even like the car very much. This is the best article masthead photo thumbnail.
What is masthead? Is that the terrible front end name?
No. Well, this is of that car, but I'm just talking like the masthead's like the title block of an article. Like the picture that gets you to click on an article. It's perfect. This is their actual article photo of the M3 road test with the manual transmission. They're like, it's one of the best cars, but ... And then you look down, and it's a picture of a fence post in the foreground blocking out the entire snossage on the front of this car.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
I mean, the M3, it would be on my list of like the 140 grand questions. Like, okay, for a daily,
if that front end wasn't that bad.
If it had the F80 looks, that would be on my number 1 list because you can still get a manual rear-wheel drive M3.
Yeah.
And they're bringing a wagon to the States.
And you have to look at the front end.
But you have to look at the front end, and that is not worth it.
No, that's a car. You know what you do?
What?
You get one that doesn't have any sort of driver assist. There's like no cameras in the front end.
Yeah.
You just drive it with summer tires one winter, and you will fix that problem.
Yep.
Because you will just, that whole front bumper will come right off.
I
would actually buy this car, remove the front bumper.
Yeah, it would look so much better with no front bumper at all.
Yeah, no, I would just crash it.
Because you know what's under there? A regular horizontal crash bar.
Yeah, no, I would totally just drive this. I would coast this into a pylon at IKEA.
Yep.
And then
no, would you look at that?
Just remove it, leave it at IKEA for somebody else.
If custom shops still exist, you could get them to mold you a new front bumper.
I don't want a bumper. I will take the crash bar. I will just look at the crash bar in the
that's fine too.
The AC condenser. I'm okay with that. Yeah, that's fine.
But I laughed. This was like pre-coffee me in the morning looking for article stuff.
That's
and
amazing.
I audibly laughed in the morning. I'm like, this is the best photo I have ever seen for a review of the G80 M3.
I'm actually going to screenshot that and send it to Ben because it's really funny.
Anyway, the G80 M3 manual is a great car, yada, 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 but it's so ugly. Even a mother can't love those looks.
I want to talk about a car that looks great, though.
Okay, please.
And can you just Google it for me?
Sure.
I just didn't bother. I was just doing some research on it vaguely, and I found all this cool shit. Hyundai Ioniq 6.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a great looking car.
I agree, and we think it looks great now. I'm guessing this is one of those designs that's going to look better and better with time, too.
Yes, and if you look at the rear end's the best part because this shitty roofline thing.
Yep.
I hate it on cars because it always falls apart on the rear. And the rear end.
Here we go.
That's not really a good photo of the rear end.
Well, fine. That's profile. I'll keep going.
Yeah. So the Ioniq 6, it's got the slopey roofline and everything.
There we go.
But I'm kind of okay with it because they put in that little spoiler in the back, and it looks like an Infiniti J30, but the J30.
Yes, it really does.
It's a J30, but with a spoiler, and the spoiler helps a ton.
I like the back end.
Also, they have those horizontal lights on the bottom that really
Yep.
help a ton with like breaking it up, and it makes it look like it looks like those Japanese Shinto temples where you have like the bar with the two bars that hold it up.
Oh, yeah.
Like it looks like that, and I think that's a really cool design feature. There was actually a different Korean design that they did that was similar to that, and I can't remember what it is now.
Look how off that fuel door color is.
Yep, it's a Hyundai.
Wow. Still a Hyundai.
Still a Hyundai. That's gonna happen. And apparently, it uses a completely different electric motor setup than a Nero, so you don't have to deal with the Nero.
It does, yeah. It's on the same platform as the Ioniq 5, which
I'm sure they'll have some other cursed issues.
Oh yeah, maybe not Volkswagen cursed, but they'll
find a way to make something weird.
But these are going to be apparently god tier range too because of that aerodynamic properties.
And you know how they actually did that? All those design cues, they came from pre-war streamliners.
God damn it!
But no, they were actually cited as saying like they were looking at like the Stout Scarab and stuff like that, and the like the Chrysler Y Job, the Chrysler Airflow, all the Tatras and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they designed it off of that because they wanted to have that classic look.
That looks like it could have an air-cooled aluminum V8 in the back.
Yeah, no, it definitely especially the side profile really pulls off the Tatra-ishness of it. Which
Tatra-ishness.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm a big fan of the pre-war design cues on that. And the headlights actually have a really cool pixel design language to them that they did. And yeah, I really like that because it's like a light bar.
Well, that's on the whole Ioniq range. I do like all that.
Yeah, I do really like the pixels. And I used to not. And they've been working it in smarter and smarter ways.
Which is surprising to me because you are very much an 80s design aesthetic enthusiast.
I am, and that's why I like this.
Those are miniature glass block windows, right?
Yeah, I know. That's why I like it. But they finally were able to integrate the pixel style lighting in a good way. And I think that looks really good. And they also use that for a charge indicator. Nice. So you don't have to go and look in your car and
the 500e had that and the Tesla doesn't.
Yeah, because Teslas are bad. And you made a bad decision.
No, it's a good car.
You made a bad decision. It's a bad car.
It is flawed.
It is a very flawed, bad car.
It's a fine car. It's a bad company. Terrible owners.
It's a bad car. And yeah, I just think that's a really cool thing. Just having the indicator for the charge on the front end, so you can see exactly how charged your car is. And then also, speaking of weird indicator things, door pockets, you always lose stuff in them, and
sure
always
do.
Full of shit.
Yep.
They made them transparent.
How do they do that? Acrylic?
Yeah, they're just made out of a smoked acrylic sort of thing.
Are they going to look like complete dog shit in 20 minutes?
No, because they actually textured the outside.
Very good.
So it's not flat. That's the thing, is they made it kind of smoked, so they actually textured it so it doesn't look terrible.
I suppose they couldn't do glass because they put airbags in the door panels.
Here's your shotgun.
Don't worry, it's Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's the door pockets are transparent. So, and they were saying oh, it's so you can see and not lose things. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to guilt me to clean out my door pockets so much faster.
I know.
Because I'm going to have to actually look at this shit.
I don't have door pockets in my car, so the center console is where everything lives.
That's stupid.
And
that's more stupid Tesla
but
trash.
I keep less shit in this car than I ever did in my Fiat because of it.
Yeah, that's true. The Fiat door pocket's actually really great.
They're so capacious. Yeah. There's so many
I have so much trash in them. I've not cleaned them out in months.
The 500E's got a little hidden drug bin behind the seat because it's got the battery thing on the floor. I don't know.
That's amazing. But yeah, they also have that shitty floppy roof is better because of the spoiler. It helped so much. So yeah, the Ioniq 6, that's a car, when I saw front end photos, they need to stop showing the front of that car.
Yeah.
They need to show the rear. Because the rear end, that is your sales pitch.
Those designs, the EV6 does the same thing for me the other way around. Yeah. I really like the front end of the EV6, but I don't like at all the rear end.
I mean, I like the front end, but the thing is, I like a lot of cars' front ends.
That's true.
I like the J30's front end. I like a lot of... it's
the quad projector front end was really cool in 92.
It's very easy to make a front end look good. And... that's fine. Everybody screws up the rear end. Look at Saab.
We're all used to the front end designs of people working around aerodynamics. We're not used to rear end designs, people working around aerodynamics.
And so we're used to front ends being how does this look? Good. And they're all right, cool, done.
We can definitely make that.
Everything makes a good looking front end.
Yeah.
A 2017 Accord, great front end. Like, bunch of cars. It is actually hard to make a bad front end. Like, it's like the last car that I've seen that had a front end that really made me gag was the first gen of AO.
It wasn't the JDM 3?
No, that's just a grill. The rest of the front end.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, like, where the entire front end as a whole, not just one part just screwing up the whole thing.
Okay.
But like the entire front end as a whole being just like totally ruined would be like an Aveo. Because like even with like the Juke has the weird headlights. If you look at the headlights, yeah, the headlights are terrible. But if you put them together with the front end like works fine. But the G80M3 grill really does just kind of screw the pooch on that.
I don't hate the Juke anymore.
That overrules the front end. Yeah, thank you, G80. I never disliked the Juke because I always thought it was kind of a cool, weird, little quirky thing.
When the Cherokee came out, I honestly thought it was a joke because it was so ugly.
That is really bad. But I mean, like that's the thing is like there's a couple of cars that have bad front ends. Now,
and it's still ugly, but like everyone you see knows a Trailhawk.
Let's compare this to cars with terrible rear ends. So we have terrible rear ends would be any like slopey rear window SUV.
Yeah, X4s, the GLE coupe.
Yep, and
stuff like that.
J30. What was the Mercedes?
CLS.
CLS. The Mercedes CLS.
Which I like for the record, but
yeah, it's bad. It's just a bad vehicle. It's not good.
I never said it was a good vehicle. I just
I
like the look. Yeah,
but like you see what I mean? Like it's way easier to screw like the Saab 9.5, the last gen, where they just quit designing it.
Yeah,
like it's so easy to ruin a rear end, and nobody talks about it.
It's like it was a placeholder part of the design, and then they went out of business. So
yeah,
they just shipped it.
Or like the Porsche Boxster Forever.
Oh, the first gen Panamera.
Yeah, like they look terrible.
Yuck.
The Eclipse Cross.
Oh yeah, that's pretty
even
bad.
Pre and post facelift are both bad in every way. Like it's very easy to make a terrible rear end. That's why I like the Chevy Spark so much. The Chevy Spark rear end
good-looking car.
Is a great rear end. Like that's an amazing looking rear end.
Very vertical, very taut.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's vertical, but you have like the giant, like cute taillights are kind of breaking it up. Like it's a good looking rear end. Like hell, even I'll say Janice Buick, the rear end does not do it for me. That rear end is my least favorite part of her car.
Okay.
It does this weird like kind of slopey thing with the trunk, which I'm not too big on, but like it's like I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like, if I had to pick my least favorite rear end of 1961 on a GM car, it's probably the Buick. It's going to be my least favorite. But that's also, compared to a 61 Pontiac and like all the other amazing
the bar
rear
was
ends,
set much
it was
higher.
a very high bar. Like if that rear end came out on like a new Impala, I'd be thrilled. The new Malibu rear end is terrible.
How have you managed to do this?
I don't know what happened.
I don't think we've ever thrown the pre-war bell on the floor before in like 5 years of doing this podcast.
I just really don't like the Malibus.
The trigger was flowing through you.
Yeah, I was so upset. But anyway, yeah, that is something that it's so easy to screw up rear end, and the fact they got the rear end right on this that's something to be commended. Like
we should definitely like make a point to revisit this in a year, and once we've like seen them in person for a while, to see how we like the design then. Because I bet it'll be even more favorable at that time.
I think so. Terrible front end is the new Sonata.
Yeah, that's weird. It's kind of sneezy.
Fish.
Yeah,
it looks like a fish, like a DC Avanti. Oh, there's a car with a terrible rear end. Oh. What are you doing?
Nothing. I was getting off this terrible
just
stool.
Breaking everything.
Yeah. That was the glass window for this case, but I didn't break it.
Oh, that's good. But yeah, the DC Avanti is a terrible rear end. That's the Indian supercar. It's based off like an MR2 or something. It's like too tall. It doesn't perform well.
Yeah.
I want one.
When I hear Avanti, I think of the Studebaker.
No. I want a DC Avanti, but I also am aware of how it looks, and the part of why I want it is
the part of me with eyes says no.
Yeah, it's got like a 90s Hyundai like leather, like too shiny of leather interior.
Ooh no, where it looks as thin as it is.
Can you just Google a DC Avanti so you can remind yourself what it looks like?
I sure can. Oh yeah, yuck! Wow, that looks like the Will.i.am.
Wait till you see the rear end.
I need to.
There it is. I see it. I'm looking at it right side of the screen at the bottom.
Oh yeah.
Look how bad that rear end is.
Copy image link. Paste. Wow. Yeah. No, that is
It's a bad rear end. That's what I'm talking about. You have a rear end. That's so much easier to make a terrible
They
rear
should have
end.
stopped styling 20 or 30 hours prior to this, I think. Yeah.
Or like they should not have left the clay model on top of the radiator at the design
all the
lab
points.
and just let it like melt because it just looks like it melted. Like, it's just not good.
The corners, all the
the
extremities
corners-
just kind of. The car has 2 strokes at once.
No, that's what it looks like. Yeah, it's a stroke car. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It just looks terrible. But anyway, let's move on.
All right.
Get out of here.
On to look terrible. The vaporware company that we love to talk about, Tesla.
Yes.
They're actually shipping semis. So these were announced alongside the Roadster, which is total vaporware, and the Cybertruck, which is total vaporware and garbage. But the semis are actually in official production now, and they're shipping to PepsiCo in December. I had to remind myself and go back and look.
Going back to the Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Elon Musk keeps promising these new features on it. And
For a
it's
car that can't be legally put on the roads in this country?
already,
Interesting.
and then he's like, it's also going to do this, and it's going to do this.
But it
and
won't,
it's gonna
though.
Do this. It's going to do none of that.
It won't exist.
Nope.
In that capacity, anyway.
No, it's going to be a Hummer H3. Like, it's going to be the worst. But anyway.
I saw an H3T in immaculate condition on 62 the other day. I'm like,
wow.
whoa.
Somebody really wanted the worst possible Chevy Colorado that they could
Yeah.
get. But anyway, let's...
So anyway, these are 600 kilowatt hour, and they have 1 megawatt onboard charging capability. I'm just like, that's great, but are they actually building out these facilities like they are with the supercharger network for cars, or are these things just going to have to plug into a regular 3-pin plug overnight? And by overnight, I mean for like 3 days to recharge.
You know, I'm not going to lie. Fleet companies find every way that they can possibly, like, fuck over their drivers.
Yep.
I guarantee you they're doing nothing.
Cool.
So it's going to
So
go
it's
into
gonna
it's
be
going to go
CCS.
into it's to go into a fast charger. It's going to block like an entire lane of fast.
It's going to take
chargers.
4 hours at the top speed to fill one of these things up.
Yeah, and the driver's not going to get paid.
No, of course not. No, you got to punch out when you're charging.
No, they don't even punch. They get paid per mile.
Also, every single press photo I've seen in one of these has a stainless steel trailer and wheel fairings. Every one of the actual Tesla semis has like silver truck wheels with no fairings. I'm like, these look like shit.
This is going to be
I'm really curious to see exactly how these end up going. But
There is a reason semi-trucks look the way they do around the world.
because they have to.
It's because it's function. It's a functional thing. Even in America, having that...
Because they have to look a certain way. It's just,
even in America, having that doghouse thing is like the only piece of design that you actually will ever see. Because
don't
it
worry.
should be a cab over.
the company that has never made a truck before, I'm sure will do great making a truck for truckerists. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Nope, this
Not
is...
reading into it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
This is totally going to be the blue origin of semi-trucks.
Trash.
Anyway, bizarre vehicle was fixed in Japan by Mitsubishi.
Oh, wow, that is bizarre. What the hell?
This is the most fascinating vehicle you've not ever heard of.
Hold on, the link broke. I need to go back.
It's called the Mitsubishi Fuso MR 430. And this was their actual truck or bus that they released in like the 60s. They built it from 1955 to 65.
Why does it have two front axles?
And getting there. They made 12 of them. They
all high production.
Yep, they're very high production. They all went to Hokkaido. And yes, they do have 2 front axles for distributing weight because they were able to get another 50% of cab capacity by doing a dual front axle, rear engine, rear wheel drive setup like this. They got 50% more in interior capacity. And the part that gets me, so it can carry 110 people.
Holy hell. Okay.
Yeah. But this is what's really wild to me. The engine, it's an 8.6 liter V6 that makes 217 horsepower and 521 pound-feet of torque.
So it revved to like 700 RPM.
That's a very, very cool engine.
Wow. How under square is that thing?
Yeah, I know, right? And so it's got
riveted. The pistons move 18 inches in a stroke or something.
It's got riveted together bodywork is put together by Kuehara or Kuriha Auto Body. And it's got a really weird like access point of how you get to the engine.
Look at that muffler.
Yeah, isn't that strange?
That's so cool.
It's very, very, very odd.
I mean, V6 buses were very common in the 60s, especially with displacements like that, but not gas.
It's very strange.
Assuming it's gas.
I don't know.
Maybe it is diesel.
Could be. With that kind of power output, it has to be a diesel.
I guess. Yeah, that would make sense.
But
Fine.
even then, it's just a very strange engine. It's very weird. But also V6, not inline six.
Right.
Like, what's getting me on that is it's
that
just...
might have even been before Detroit put out the 6V71.
Yeah, like, in, like, 1956 doing a V6 of that displacement. It's just so weird.
Any V6. That was not a common orientation
It's got 6-wheel drums.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to stop it. I mean, you got 110 fat people. Well, not fat people.
They're Japanese. They'll be very small people.
So.
But yeah, so it's just a very odd vehicle. But yeah, when they restore it, like
Wish they had an engine
they have a before photo, like the roof had sunken in from like heavy snow being stuck on it. Like it's just very, very, very weird. And yeah, they got it like totally fixed up. Very cool, strange thing. I thought you and Tucker would be very all over this because it's just weird.
I want to know more about that engine.
Yeah, that engine's something else, isn't it? The engine, I think they actually have the engine code.
I didn't see it in there, but it may exist.
Maybe I'm legally blind. Let's see here.
I don't know. That's probably
they don't have the engine code in here. But yeah, no, it's just really just weird. It's also really cool looking. Like, look how they did the taillights on top.
Yep.
Like, it's just a cool looking bus.
It's
got like a visor on the front end.
Look at the lights on the top too.
Yeah, it's got like, this is a very imposing front end. Like, this is a...
Well, not when it's blind, but yeah.
But yeah, it's true. But like,
look on we're going.
Working. This front end is like, hi, I'm capitalism. I'm here, and you are going to be subjected.
Toot toot.
Yeah, this is me all aboard the capitalist bus. Like, that's what this bus reminds me of.
Well, all right then.
They're like, okay, I guess I'm gonna go work in a factory now. Like,
well, I guess that's happening.
Yeah, it's so cool looking. And like the sliding windows on it and the livery, all the little V's everywhere.
Mm-hmm. I like the V on the back.
Yeah, and then like on the front end there's like a tow hook. And like there's zero pedestrian safety.
Of course
like,
not.
None. No, that will absolutely just hook you.
That thing's at kneecapping height and it's got plenty of suck under space.
Yeah, no, that is a bad hook. that hook is that's gonna help nobody. It's just such a cool truck. Like, yeah, this is definitely the strangest Mitsubishi I've ever come across. So yeah,
that is saying something. We've talked about a lot of weird ass Mitsubishis.
Yes, Mitsubishi's capable of making some weird crap. But yeah, if you want to look at it, go to Japanese Nostalgia Car or just Google Mitsubishi Fuso MR430. It is just so weird. I feel like this bus looks like the buses from Fallout.
Yeah, it's like somebody took a GM 60s bus, like a 4104, and they just modded it to try to make it look retro-futuristic, or like more steampunk in a sense.
Yeah, no, it's actually very... Google Fallout 4 bus. You'll see what I mean. This is what I was thinking. It looks a lot like the Fallout bus.
Oh, yeah, for sure. If somebody Bosuzuku'd this Fuso...
Yeah.
That's what it would look like.
The Miami tourist bus? Yeah, this looks like something out of the Fallout universe.
Yep.
Yeah, that Decatora, like, Mitsubishi bus is just a Fallout bus. Yeah, also, look at that. Dual front axles on the Fallout bus. It's the Fallout bus. This is what they based the Fallout bus on.
Thanks, Fallout, for stealing all the ideas from Mitsubishi.
I would actually venture to bet that they probably based this bus off that Mitsubishi.
I'm sure it's a sprite that doesn't move because Fallout and their game engine's trash.
Yes.
Unless it's a helmet for an NPC.
God. I know that's how how the subways work.
Yep.
As a helmet.
So stupid.
God. But yeah, there you go. That's the weirdest thing I've seen from Mitsubishi, so that's pretty high in the running for weirdest Mitsubishi.
I was gonna say we've talked about Mitsubishi a lot, so yeah.
Yeah,
that is weird.
That's you know what that needs to be in a garage next to? An Isuzu Florian.
Oh my God, I'm not even gonna Google that.
It's an Isuzu that was clearly designed by somebody that went to go work at Subaru afterwards.
So an RTV gun.
Only a mother would love that, the Florian.
Oh no. And then their offspring designed the G80M3.
It is everything bad about the Malays all in one car. It is. Oof. Why don't you Google it before we head out?
All right, what was it called?
The Isuzu Florian. Florian. Yeah, that's a look, isn't it?
This thing.
Yeah. Look how bad that is. In every way.
And this one's, I love that it's already really rusty too.
That's just how it looks.
Other than the fender mirrors, that is not great.
Even the fender mirrors are in
That
the worst
looks like
possible location.
a four-door version of the My Summer car with like a Lincoln grill on it from the Malays.
And like misplaced
Square
headlights that are misplaced.
Yeah.
The headlights don't
Crash
line up
bumpers.
with anything. Crash bumpers in Japan in the 70s.
Oof.
They didn't need to have crash bumpers. They built this for export, and then clearly nobody exported it because look at it.
Yeah, we didn't get any orders, so we're going to sell
Take
them
this,
here.
stuff it next to that Mitsubishi bus, and you'll have a whole car collection of the worst of Japan.
I hate this so much.
We'll leave
Thanks
you on
for
that.
listening, everyone. See you next week.